Hello dear students, welcome in this online session of 9th standard SS chapter number 3. So today we are going to discuss the chapter number 3, and in this chapter we'll learn that what was the condition of the nation of all across the world, and especially some of the nations which were highlighted at the time of war, and which kind of strategy they were dealing with, what kind of parties came out here, and which kind of theories they were thinking upon. So this lesson is all about the movement towards new world after the war, or you can also say that the movement towards a new world, chapter number 3 here. So let's start with the first topic here, the global trend between the two world war. Now what was the global trend between the two world war? We can say that generally students that the lesson part 1, part 2 is quietly, we can say that quietly related with this lesson, that how easily we can understand that militarism in Japan, global depression of 1929 to 32, and also we can say fascism in Italy, then Nazism in Germany, and what kind of conditions they were feeling at the time, then also we'll try to discuss here in this today's chapter. So I hope you all will try to focus in this chapter, and I also hope that you will understand the basic theories which took place in the primitive time. So we'll start from the trending. See here, my dear students, after the First World War, every nation was trying to emulate itself, means to do the powerful industrial development regarding the machineries and the development of the we can say weapons too here. So in the First World War, we can say people became economically poor, as you know that we read in the previous chapter number 2, and the immediate government power were also somehow declined, so they were unsuccessful in proving themselves. Who were unsuccessful? Government was unsuccessful to prove themselves, and after that here people lost the trust over the government, and therefore they began to make their own parties. So when the Italy lost the war, generally, as I have said you, somehow Italy was on the side of the winning nation, and when Italy was trying to fight with the other nation, in that it incurred a massive amount of tax of, or we can say that expenditure of $12 billion. But apart from that, it also lost 6 lakh soldiers. So that was somehow like a pathetic condition of the Italy. And furthermore, it also yet other with the winning nations took over with the Italy. Italy was somehow terrorized by the other nations. So selecting some of the decisions, Italy also made some of the parties here. My dear student, I am telling you about the fascism in Italy, why Italian people made them way to the fascism. So literally we can say that the choice of ignoring somehow Italy was somehow hurting the Italy, or we can say that Italy was angry and frustrated by this kinds of thing because it supported all the winning nation, and when there was a part of share, then Italy was somehow neglected, or it was not somehow given the best share about the part also. And laterly we can say in the nationalist feeling, Italy was hurt somewhere. So with the Italian considered government responsible for that, and therefore they made their own government, means somehow we can say, and they were more eager to take revenge with their government, and therefore thus humiliation took more further. Humiliation means somehow we can say that the eagerness turned into the angriness, and now Italy was thinking to take all the revenge from the government. Therefore Italian considered to the government responsible for that, and they made their own party. Now as adopted a bundle and stick under the leadership of Benito Mussolini. You should remember this name here. In order to save Italy, my dear student, in order to save Italy, somehow they found such of the direction that they went on the ammunition system, they went on the fighting system, they went on the party making system. So literally we can say that he adopted Benito Mussolini. He was a guide and the mentor of, we can say, Italy, and somehow the emperor also. Mussolini launched a fascist party. Now what was the fascist party? He adopted a bundle of stick and axe. You know the meaning of stick and axe? Stick means the bundle of sticks, that's a wood, and the axe which is allowed, or we can say which is used to cut the woods. So that they used, and they used that thing into the symbol of the flag of fascism party, and then they gave uniforms also to their soldiers. So if I go more further, the volunteer wore the black uniform, and also Mussolini Maxim means Mussolini published a rule, regulation, and Maxim too. in which one rule, one party, one leader. He gave military training also to most of the people, and laterally we can say that they wore the black uniform. Now why there is a considering uniform? See my dear students, whenever you are making your own party, you need to give the uniform, and also you need to make your people different looking from the other people so that you can identify. So here fascism in Italy means they made the uniform also, they made their own flag, they made their own symbol, and they made their own different party. So literally we can say that he gave the military training also, and somehow we can say after coming to the power, Mussolini captured Rhodes, that is the province, okay, and also captured the Dawson's Island. So that is Dawson's Island also it captured, so that to show the power that yeah, we are also supreme power here, we are the fascism party, we are from the Italy. And so literally we can say they went to the Turkey also, they captured Turkey also, and he also won Albina, Abyssinia, Fiume ports, and many more things in the 1924. So you should remember the date, this date here. There was 1924 when Italy got victory over most of the nearing small and big provinces here. So literally after the victory of Mussolini, Benito Mussolini, we can say that Benito Mussolini snapped all the ties from the League of Nations, and Mussolini was thinking that now I can deal everything by myself, and it is very much frequent and easy also. So somehow we can say some of the nations were also who were supporting to Italy, they went more on support here, and somehow with the League of Nations and joined the Rome, or we can say joined Rome Treaty in the 1924. And after this victory we can say that Italy was thinking that we can capture whole of the other part of the provinces also as well. We are the people who are also known for the fascism party, for the its we can say brutality also, because they were so brutal, they were killing, they were doing war, they're capturing here and there, they were making the enlarged armies and all. So this all took place after the First World War. Like you can also say that it was the consequences related with the next World War, or to the Second World War also here. So thus we can say Rome-Berlin-Tokyo Axis Treaty was made out, and somehow thus Italy had become responsible for the Second World War also, because Italy started the war when the First World War was somehow about to end, or we can say Italy made the people to get once again revenged with the other nation by Italian people. And we can say because Italy people somehow made their way to conquer other nation, to puzzle other nation, and to also like betray with the other nations. So that was all about Italy, my dear students. Now I'll move to the Nazis in Germany. So Germanian people, they were thinking that we should also establish this kinds of parties. We should also take one of the leader. We are without the leader. So somehow we can say Germany in the First World War had lost. Dekho, whenever there is a feeling of revenge, or whenever there is a feeling of defeat, obviously there comes the revenge and all. So somehow we can say Germany had lost the First World War, and later we can say it was economically ruined out also. Now when Germany was economically ruined out, in that case Germany will also take all the revenge by the other nations who made it to ruin out here. So laterly we can say Paris peace process had compelled Germany to sign the treaty on the gunpoint that I have taught you in my lecture number 1. That is lesson number 2, that how Germany was forcibly to pay the 6.5 pounds of the somehow amount of the currency to the other nation, and also some of the provinces, for that Germany could be forgiven back and German people can live out also. So it was actually not accepted by the Germany, as we can say that Germans were extremely angry with the unjust treaty of this Paris Peace Process Treaty, or we can say that the German, when it signed the treaty of this warship. So after that a person is introduced in the lesson here. Now what is his name? He is world leader, you can also consider him, or you can say that he was a leader who was very strict, straightforward, and he was a very authentic person who was leading all the rules with the pathetic system, and he was none other than Adolf Hitler. So coming of Adolf Hitler is in the date 1919, should remember the date here, 1919, and literally we can say that when Adolf Hitler joined the Socialist German Party in 1919, this party came to be known as the Nazi government. So 1919 was the date when Italy was joined by somehow the Adolf Hitler, and in this case we can say that okay, Hitler was so ambitious ruler, he was so ambitious ruler that he was trying to conquer every part of the nation side by him, means side by the German. So literally we can say that Germany had lost the war and now German was extremely angry, and here is the coming Hitler in the date of 1919, and now he is making an own party which is also known as the Nazi government party of the Germany. Now Nazi soldiers, like if you talk about the Hitler assumed the post of establishing the savior of the Germany, means somehow he was a dictatorial rule, he was always following on the dictatorship, and somehow after the Hindenburg we can say that Italian people thought that Hitler is our savior, and in the German language they called him as a Führer, means savior of the German. So thus Italy made a very you can say Hitler made a very great forward confidence in between the people, and the people supported also. Nazi soldiers were somehow introduced to them from the German inside, means the Germanian people only, they became the part of this whole army group that was known as Nazi German party. So they made their own uniforms. That's quite different here, same as like fascism in Italy. Okay, and we can say that when Germanian people were using these kinds of uniforms and all, they made their own military barricade, they made their own military troop, and somehow Nazi soldier wore the blue military uniform. It is quite opposite to the, somehow we can say that fascism party, means the Italian party wore the black uniform, now these are wearing the blue uniform. Also stuck red stripe over their shoulder and wore a symbol of swastika. What they wore? They were a symbol of swastika on the badging side of the arm. So you can say he's some kinds of mentality might be there that this swastika could be helping us in the war, as it is referring the Indian civilization. So somehow we can say that Hitler authorization was such a interesting factor of its belief and the rule, that he was trying to conquer everything, starting from the belief of the Germans, then to the provinces, and to the everything here, means everybody supported him. And laterly we can say that Hitler's authorization was somehow that military started to become like impatient, very much like Hitler tried to make every people to fight for the war. It was like he was nurturing people to become the military, to become a powerful army group here. His main aim was that to emergence of the Germany at any cost. Somehow we can say to make Germany to go as the powerful nation at any cost. I will take Germany as it was there, more far better from that also at any cost. Let the river of blood be flowing out, but I will fight for the Germany. My Germany will fight for my people. So he was main person whose name was Hitler. Later on we can say it was named on the somehow purification of Germany race also, and his policies were somehow targeted well. And if I go more further, the European also were somehow like feeling insecure by these kinds of things. And if you go internally, so Hitler was having some kinds of ruling capacity, or we can say he was having some kinds of ruling strategy, in which actually German people were thinking that there is no man on the earth except Hitler can save us. So he was getting the power also from the people, and he was getting support also from the people, and he was like a dictator ruler or the king also of the Germany at that time of 1919 here. So in the name of purification of Germany race, his policies were targeted at the extremist, or we can say extra training to the Jewish people. Exterminating means to expel out. Purification of Germany means he said that in the German, only Germans could be living here, other people should be leave the Germany. So he targeted the outer source of the people who were trying or who were living in the or nearby the German. So somehow we can say Jews also went out from the Gypsies also, mentally they were challenged people. And somehow we can say that by the end of the Second World War, somehow Europeans were also in the target here. So innumerable European Jews lost their life, in which we can say that which is also known as the Holocaust. Means we can say it's like a very different term, in which a brutal term, in which the innocent people, the mentally challenged people, or we can say that the people who are not able to fight also, they were also somehow put inside the war and to fight with the war, and those who are not supporting the nation, they can go out of the nation. There is no need of this kinds of people inside the nation. So this is the general theory which I am telling you also, my dear student. Here Hitler's expansion treaty, or we can say Hitler's expansionism with the military action was going more and more forward, and to the neighboring countries also. Hitler was trying to expand his army so that he could get more power, more authoritative control, and more threat toward other people also. So extremely he was making the groups to follow his lead, and he also was responsible for the Second World War emergence, and that was like a reason about 1919 treaty when the Hitler is coming to the Germany. Now Germany, as you can understand, Germany is standing very great in the position at that time, but Germany is also somehow defeated by the other nation, and Germany has to also sign up the treaty. So we need to understand that now if the Germany is bringing a person back who is known as, or a person new fresh who is named as Hitler, so that person will try to prove his ambitious rule towards the people that I am there and I will save you. You don't worry about that. I will do whatever I am doing. So you don't need to worry for that. That was Hitler. Now if we talk about Italy, Germany, then we'll move to the Japan. Now why should Japan leaving backward? Why should Japan leaving backward? It's a simple thing. Japan should not be leaving backward. Why? Because if most of the nations are supporting world war, or most of the nations are trying to go with the warship treaty, Japan should also go with that. See, my dear student, Japan also supported the allied nations like America and all, but laterally Japan got nothing, or Japan got only some percentage, and he was also boycotted from Russia, from Siberian zone. Therefore, Japan thought that according to Treaty of Versailles 1990, Japan got benefit of the somehow provinces of China. Now, after that, England, France, and distributed many regions of Germany between them two here. So we can say Japan was quite displeased with this. I'll read once again. According to the Treaty of Versailles, you need to understand, according to the Treaty of Versailles 1919, Japan got benefit of the province of China. Okay, only the province of China. But if you talk about England and France, distributed many zone of Germany, and in the distribution of Germany there was no any part given to Japan. So Japan was thinking that why I should displace by this here. And in the year 1921 to 22, you need to understand, in the year 1921 to 22, somehow we need to understand here, Japan was now impatient and had to agree with some percentage only in the Washington met, and therefore Japan had to agree only to have 35%. It was promised to give more percentage, but only 35% of the English and American naval forces. So somehow we can say Japan also had to vacate his place from this other zone of the area which it was granted out here. So somehow we can say Japan had to also vacate the island of somehow that is the Sakhalin Island, and also Japan was thinking, Japanese armies and people were thinking that okay, we should get more and more places in the area because we supported them. If you support anyone, you need some feedback also, which should be good enough. But if you are not getting, then you are hurt enough here. So therefore, this Japanese people made their own army group because they were disappointed by supporting nations like England and America and other nations also. Now the militarism, the Japan adopted the militarism which could not stop imperialistic activities also. Now Japan was on its own rule and regulation, and we can say Japan captured Manchuria, okay, and established the Manchukuo government also in the China, and somehow we can say that was held in the 1932 year. Also it captured Korea. Don't you think that only Japan is targeting China? No, my dear kids, it is also going to capture Korea, and later more Mongolia, Shanghai provinces, we can say Shatang provinces, and also some provinces of China to here. So somehow we can say that it improved its relation with Germany, Italy, like Germany and Italy were making their own army group and all. So Japan thought that, yeah, why should I fight with them? I should support them, because as they are having enemy or they are also not somehow having good friendship with England and France. I am also not having. So if we all are having the same army group as an enemy, then we should do one thing. We should take hands together and we should make our own League of Party. So therefore we can say that it had improved relation with Germany and Italy also, and furthermore it also led to the consequences of the next world war. See my dear students, we think one thing we need to understand, okay, here in this war all the games which was played somehow to join a nation, to leave a nation, was somehow politically assigned. Only after seeing the profit of the nation it was assigned by them. So literally we can say that thus after the Emperor Meiji, Emperor Hirohito 1936 he came and also encouraged the activities of Japan. Thus Japan snapped all the ties with League of Nations, and now Japan in the 1933 was now going to become an independent nation, and the nation which can not follow any rule of League of Nations. Whenever it needs, it will do the war. Whenever it need, it capture the provinces, and whenever it need, it will break the friendship also. So Japan was all free at that time of the war. So this is the basic thing about Japan what I am telling you here, my dear student. Now if these kinds of things are happening, one thing you need to understand, okay, there should be some kinds of internal war, or there should be some kinds of global crisis also. Now what is a global depression? See, if the war is there, men and material, property and the priority, all the things are destructed. Men and the material means somewhere you will find that the human beings, their property, their everything is destroyed. And if all the farmers are destroyed, how will get the crop? All the industries are destroyed, how will get the production? The market will set down to the lower level. Same thing happened in the global depression, which I am going to make you understand. Now what was global depression? See, the heads of the most of the European nation has believed that, they were believing that, okay, with the end of the First World War, even the post World War, everything will be recovered, but it was not done yet. When the First World War was ended, post World War was also ended, somehow we can say that global depression was there, means share was falling down. Nobody, you can say that in this global depression, nobody was somehow allowed, or nobody was trying to invest in the market, produce some products to the market, establish the new business employment categories also, because that was global depression. So thus we can say that suddenly a large number of the share began to sold in the market, in the Wall Street stock market, and somehow we can say that it was also like market is going down, and whatever the materials are left in the market, that should be sold at the higher price, at the higher range. How they will support to the people? They will not support. They will only focus on the profit. What about the people? People will also not support the government. How they will buy these kinds of things? It was a war. Most of the men died. The female came with the responsibility of the kids. The poor condition was very weak. There was no farm, no cultivated land. So we can say that in this case, everybody is becoming like poor and struggling. So therefore we can say this was also called Wall Street crisis or critics by the Maxim of at that time, that held in 24th October. You should remember the date here, 24th of October 1929. So that is the global depression. Now this crisis shook the whole world, whole world, and also shattered the economical condition nations, giving the birth to the great global crisis also. See my dear students, if you think that India is self-dependent, then you are somehow wrong. Yes, India may be self-dependent, but not 100%. Some percentage we also depend on the other nation, same as other nation also depends upon us. So when there is a destruction in that nation, they can't give us support. If there is a destruction in our nation, we can't give them support. So the market economy of both of the nation is now destroyed, and somehow people has to suffer this. They will suffer it. So here we can say that global depression was the depression, means it was a condition in which the whole systematic theory of a nation was somehow disturbed, distributed, and somehow we can say that it was ruined out also. Laterly we need to understand all the share was somehow sold out. So now when the share is sold out, obviously the market will fall down. Most of the nations worldwide were affected by this global depression. Right now, due to COVID-19, whole of the nations are suffering from economical crisis. Industries are locked out, jobs are not there, salaries are cut off, and many more things are there. It is also like global depression. So apart from that, we can say even the nation like Britain also had to keep the gold reserves and many more things here. Even the superpower like Britain had to sacrifice its policy to keeping of gold reserve. Even the Britain was not now about to buy the gold reserves, okay, and somehow we can say against the currency pound. So it's the currency would also decrease, the level of the currency also, and somehow the trading business was also somehow like a zero. So laterly we can say this affected all of the nation and the world international trade industry also, and somehow we can say prosperous nations like America, or we can say like England, European side of the countries had to impose strict measures on the tax from the people. So global trade between between the people and the government was somehow we can say it was strategic, or it was somehow we can say that targeted only with the profit, and somehow we can say global trade between the other nation also reduced to the half of that. And literally the world war started at outline after this world war, we can say first, or the global depression also. See my dear student, if a country is not supported economically, if a country is not having resources, then that country will try to do the war with the other people to capture their provinces and to get resources and to get the all benefits also. So this is the lecture all about the 4 theories of the global depression: militarism in Japan 1921 to 22, then fascism in Italy, upcoming of Nazism in Germany 1900, that is 1919, about Adolf Hitler, and the trending facilities, or we can say the global trending between the 2 world wars. So we'll take this lecture more forward and we'll understand other pages also with the information. Just I need to say that you need to focus in this lecture. The lesson quite be somehow puzzling you, because the detailed information which I am teaching you here quite be quite be felt by you that it is complicated, but actually my dear student, it is not complicated. Whenever you are watching this